Welcome, students. So I just wanted to give you an update on the AP Literature College Board information that's been coming out in the last few weeks. Every day it seems like there's a little bit more information, but at this point, everything is kind of set in stone. So the updates that are here are what the exam is actually going to be. Now, it's okay if you don't like the question that they're picking. It's okay if you don't like the updates. The fact is, it's what the entire nation's going through right now. So this is kind of what we have to deal with. And so from here, for basically the next 3-4 weeks, we're only going to be preparing for the question that they're asking. And we're only going to be focusing on those skills. So here are some of the AP Lit updates that we have. So at this point, you should definitely have known, because I told you, that it's no longer a 3-hour exam. They took that 3-hour exam and now they made it into 45 minutes. That is a huge change. Because if you remember, the format of the previous exam was 1 hour for multiple choice and then 2 hours for essays. But the way that they got to 45 minutes, like we practiced in class a lot, I said you should take roughly 40 to 45 minutes per essay when you had those 3 to write. Now you only have 1 and they're giving you 45 minutes. So you should be comfortable with that. You should be able to write a 45-minute exam and write enough. Now the good news too is in class we practice handwriting and that slows you down a bit. This is going to be a fully online exam, so you should be able to type a lot more than you would write. So with that in mind, it's a 45-minute exam. Number 2, there are no multiple choice questions at all. This one's kind of hit or miss for me, to be honest. For those of you that were really good at multiple choice this year, and there's a few of you that were scoring consistently in the 30s and even close to 40, you guys were doing very well, and I anticipated you guys getting a lot of points on your exam because of that. Unfortunately, it doesn't help you because there's no multiple choice. Now, on the other hand, those of you that were scoring, less than 27, less than 26, and were struggling with this hopefully will help you. But we do know, fortunately, that the third update is it is going to be a prose question. So if you remember, there was 3 types of essays. There was always going to be the poetry, the prose, and then the free response. I was really hoping that they would give you guys the free response, but they're not going to. Instead, they're going to do a prose analysis question. So if you're not familiar with what that is or you don't remember, it's anything that's not poetry. So it's not going to be a poet. It's not going to be a poem that you have to do, which is good for those of you that weren't liking that. Instead, it's going to be a selected passage. You will not know the title. You will not know the author. They told us that they are not giving that information out. They're not even putting it on the exam. So you're not really going to have any background information to deal with. So it could be contemporary. It could be older. It could be difficult language from the 15th, 16th, 17th century, or it could be written in the last few years. We don't know. But what we do know is a prose passage is typically about 1 page to read and analyze, and then you write an essay for. Now, I'm actually okay, and I think you guys can feel confident answering that particular question because we practiced a lot with using evidence in our writing and writing as much as we can for any question. Yes, we prepared a lot for the free response, but they're kind of one and the same because all of your free response questions were still prose questions that you were answering. You just didn't have the book in front of you when you answered. Now, because they're giving you the passage, you will be able to quote directly from it and use integrated quotations and follow our quoting formula, which should help you write more. Now, lastly, you guys know this by now, this is an online exam. I do believe there's a way for you to handwrite it, take a picture, and upload. I don't know how to do that. I don't know anything about it, so you'd have to contact Mrs. Murray for that. But what I can tell you is because this is an online exam, there are some tips that you should be aware of. And I would say that one of the big tips is because you are typing, make sure that you actually fill up the 45 minutes. If you are done in 15 minutes, you have taken this way too fast. Go back, add additional paragraphs, add additional information. And I'm going to show you what the College Board actually has right now for the AP Lit exam. So you'll be taking the exam on May 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern time, right? So that's our time zone. You are given 45 minutes to read and respond. So notice that's not really different from the original exam. You still would have had to read the passage and respond and hopefully spend about 40 to 45 minutes writing. And then you get 5 minutes to upload their response. That's probably just to make sure that you have everything done. I don't know what this is going to look like, but I would be very careful of following their timeline exactly, because I'm wondering what happens after the 5 minutes are up for you to upload. Does it negate your score? Does it give you a 0? Do they not accept it? I don't know. So you don't want to be close to that wire. You want to be done around 40 to 45 minutes, and then they'll probably prompt you to upload, and you have 5 minutes to do so. So use a Google Doc, use Microsoft Word, anything like that, and then be able to upload that quickly. Now, there's only one question. It is the prose. Now, notice what they say here too. It's going to be a passage of prose fiction that's approximately 500 to 700 words. So that's why it's usually about a page. They usually double column it. So really it's like 2 pages if they were to double space it. But then you're going to be assessed on the following. Can you respond to the prompt with a thesis? Many of you are doing fantastic with that. We've worked on it all year. Some of you still need to make sure that you're writing a thesis down. And you need to present a defensible interpretation. Remember, that means that you are presenting an interpretation of the work that is probable and that can actually be backed up with evidence. You can't just throw things out like you're jumping out of a plane without a parachute. Now, you got to select evidence, which means they're looking for you to actually take quotes from the text and take details from the text and put it in. And you need to be able to explain how the evidence supports your reasoning or supports your thesis. So notice, that's the quoting formula right there, right? That's what we've gone over all year. You have to select evidence. You need to comment on the evidence. Tell me why it's significant. If you can do that, you're going to be doing pretty well. And then lastly, use appropriate grammar and punctuation. Notice this does not have much to do with literary terminology or definitions or knowledge of Shakespeare. Instead, it's, can you write well? Can you come up with an interpretation for the work, which does include some literary devices, right? But focus on things like diction and always move it to the theme, tone, imagery, stuff like that. Juxtaposition and conflict. Come up with a theme for the work. That's your thesis statement. And now prove it with evidence. So those are some of the important understandings. Now, they also say the units that are eligible for this exam are units 1 through 7, which is, I'm going to show you what that looks like in the next video that I do, but I wouldn't be concerned with this. What you can be concerned with is that the exam is on May 13th, which gives us a little under a month to practice, and all we're going to be doing is prose essay and prose analysis and interpretation and writing and integrating quotes. That's what we're going to be focusing on, because those are the updates here. So yes, it stinks that you don't have the opportunity to boost your score with the poetry essay or the free response or the multiple choice, but the good news is this is definitely manageable. You can definitely get through this. You could definitely do well on it. So if you have any questions, reach out to me, let me know, and gear up, because the next few weeks we're going to be solely working on our interpretation of prose essays.